Oh, the European Union is also battling a surge in drug trafficking and drug-related crimes. Our changing habits of international drug cartels and shifting global market forces have meant the violence is starting to spread to the capital of the European Union. Cadier reports from Brussels.
C'est très facile. C'est très facile. En moins de 5 minutes, j'ai les deux drogues.
Illegal drugs are flooding into Europe and authorities are struggling to keep up. In 2021 alone, law enforcement officials seized more cocaine at Europe's ports than ever before, a record 303 tons. One key hotspot is Antwerp, Belgium's biggest and Europe's second largest seaport. In 2023, Belgian authorities seized a record 116 tons of cocaine here, around a third of all EU seizures. Just an hour north is Europe's largest port, Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Decisions here have had a major impact on Antwerp and Belgium as a whole. Rotterdam automated large parts of its container handling, meaning drug cartels no longer had access to dock workers to help them with smuggling. So they moved their operations to Antwerp instead. What followed was a spike in violence between gangs in the city. Violence that spread to Brussels, Belgium's capital, and home to the EU institutions and NATO headquarters. Tern Verten has investigated the international drugs trade for many years. He says authorities here just aren't nimble enough to take on the cartels.
It's basically a very difficult struggle against crime syndicates, because crime syndicates are way more inventive, way more flexible. If the Belgium install a new system of controlling, checking containers, which will take like 1 or 2 years to install the system and to implement and to discuss the drug organizations, they switch the same day.
This estate in the Anderlecht district of Brussels has become a hotbed of crime and drug dealing for months. At its peak, police struggled to contain the influence of local criminals. Dealers even set up checkpoints, blocking roads and conducting ID checks for people entering the housing blocks. Law enforcement are now trying to take back control of this area. They are able now to ban people from coming here, including local residents if needed. They're stepping up patrols, and the justice system has rolled out stricter sentences for people found to have broken the law in this area. Even with all those measures, local charity workers have told us not to stay in this area for too long. The city of Brussels as a whole has also seen a spate of gang-related shootings in recent months. Where there is drugs and violence, there is always a human cost. Giles, not his real name, has been using drugs for 18 years. He says getting access to drugs has never been easier, but few understand the cost more than he does.
Oui, j'ai déjà ramassé des coups de couteau là, j'ai déjà ramassé des coups de couteau là dans les jambes. Il y a beaucoup de morts. Comme je vous ai dit là tout de suite, j'ai enterré mon copain, mes amis en un mois, j'en ai enterré 3 personnes.
For now, he'll stay here for a few nights in a shelter for drug users run by a charity called Transit. The shelter provides users a safe place to stay, a hot meal and the chance to shower. They give them access to social workers, mental health support and medical testing. Bruno Valkneers has been working with addicts for more than 20 years. He says more police crackdowns mean that Europe's drug problem will be pushed further underground, and that visible addicts are only part of the problem.
We see that since a few years now, cocaine is everywhere, not only among our population, the people with whom we work. I think that 90% of the drug users are not addict people. They are working in enterprise, they are lawyers, they are students.
In just under 2 months, the European Union will launch a new EU drugs agency. It will help inform and coordinate police efforts across the continent. But experts say without addressing the underlying causes of drug use and drug trafficking, there's only so much law enforcement can do. Cadier, CNA, Brussels.